is a fabulous one. We're going to talk about all the successes that have happened so far under President Donald Trump and how we can have faith in the future with him as the leader of the free world. Lawrence, welcome to the show.
Hello, and thank you for having me again.
Oh, my pleasure, Lawrence. It's always good to have a conversation with you. I tell you what, I'm very excited about this conversation.
Me too.
Now, Lawrence, there are a lot of discussions around and rightly so, around what's happening in Iran, and there are mixed views as to whether or not President Trump has done the right thing. Let's look at all the positives as to why he is dealing with Iran the way he is.
Sure. The problem with Iran started in 1979 with the Islamic Revolution when Jimmy Carter was president. You had a situation where Iran, whose people are Persians and which was never an Islamic country, were taken over by radical fundamentalist Muslims who imposed their version of their religion on a country that was, to a very large degree, westernized. And as soon as they took over, practically as soon as they took over, they took a bunch of American diplomats hostage from the American embassy and held them hostage for 444 days. That's a number that remains prominent in my mind. Aside from the fact that the Iranian regime violated all norms of international diplomacy by taking diplomats hostage, they in effect started a war against the Western world, not just by taking the diplomats hostage, but by beginning to use radical Islamic proxy groups to commit acts of violence around the world, and including the funding of Hezbollah and Hamas in the vicinity of Israel, and so really, in effect, we have been at war with Iran for 47 years. The only difference was we weren't fighting back. We have been attempting to deal with them through diplomacy, which plays right into the hands of radicals because they always take advantage of the desire for nonviolence on the part of Westerners when the radicals love violence and are willing to take advantage of anybody who's trying to avoid it. So to get to the heart of your question, what President Trump is doing with Iran is long overdue, and I think that we are on the verge of a fantastic breakthrough for Western civilization.
Yes,
because if we topple that regime, we cut the head off of a very large snake.
Indeed, and as you said, it's been a long time coming. What is really key to this here is his stand, where he is demanding, and rightly so, that so many other nations get behind this, because as you said, it is long overdue. Countries are dealing with immigration that is out of control, and countries are also dealing with a complacency whereby the United States has always acted as that big brother and protector of the free world. Donald Trump is rightly saying enough is enough. You need to get in. We need to do this together. Otherwise, as you just put it, Lawrence, the head of the snake will not get cut off.
Agreed. What Donald Trump is doing is reminiscent of a lot of the older Clint Eastwood movies, where you've got a lawless Wild West, and the good guys are at a disadvantage because the bad guys don't follow any rules. And he comes into town, Clint Eastwood or Donald Trump, he comes into town and starts dealing with these bad guys in the only language they understand, which is force. And it's been a long, long time, in fact, not really since World War II, since the United States has had the wherewithal, and the determination to use force against bad guys whose goal is to overthrow Western civilization. What's odd is that during World War II, America did not hesitate to identify German Nazism and Japanese imperialism as the bad guys who we needed to beat. But today, radical Islam is the bad guy we need to beat, but people are afraid to say it because they're afraid of being identified as bigots. There's no bigotry involved in saying that a certain radical sect of any religion is dangerous and needs to be controlled or tamed or rendered harmless. And that's what Trump is doing, and I think the majority of the people in the West, not their governments, because their governments have no courage whatsoever, but this is what the people of the West want, and it's necessary if they're going to survive.
Indeed, it's fair to say that President Trump is essentially investing in Americans with this, and by default, and not suggesting that anyone comes second, third or fourth. By default, everybody benefits. So he's investing in freedom for everybody. And when you combine that with all of the achievements that he has made since he's come back into power this second time, I shouldn't say back into power, but back into office this second time, he has made some extraordinary moves, both economically and certainly looking after workers right across the board in the United States. And he's also made sure that there are negotiations that are fair and reasonable, once again, across the Western world. And also, not just there, the Middle East. He's made some outstanding inroads with many Middle Eastern countries. Why do you think people don't get it?
I think the majority of the people get it, but the loud voices, the voices that are dominating the conversation publicly, are not the people. The voices that are dominating the conversation are the left, and the left has no desire for America to win any struggle against any force that is anti-American. And more than that, for a lot of, I would say that the majority of leftists, the idea of Donald Trump being victorious in any battle, even if it was a battle against cancer, the idea of him being victorious is more than unacceptable. It is a horror. If the Iranian regime is toppled or they surrender, if the Cuban communist regime is toppled or it surrenders, this is worse than the end of any horror movie for people on the left, because it's a double blow to them. It's a success for Trump, it's a success for Western civilization, and that is the last thing that leftists want to see.
Oh, absolutely. And I did see on X this morning President Trump talking about the Democrats and just how dangerous they are. And I'm not quite sure what words he used, but knowing President Trump, he said something like crazy or, dingbats or something or other, because he's always just a straight shooter, which I love about him. And you're right. You're spot on. And one of the things more locally, we've just talked about Iran, but locally, he's really pushing the ICE agenda and ensuring the safety of American citizens in their own states. To have to do that as a leader is a real blow to the Democrats, suggesting that their way of thinking and being could be any better.
Well, the Democrats, I try to be objective. I know I'm not, but I try to be objective. And the Democrats do not offer anything except get rid of Trump. They don't offer any alternative. They don't say our ideas are better. They don't say that we've got a plan, that's more in line with, with what regular people want. They say they treat Trump like a disease, and I think many of them would agree that he's a disease, and as a disease, he's got to be beaten. And that is their one and only goal, and it's the worldview from which they approach everything. So even though, whether it's radical Islamists or communists, despite the fact that they would eliminate every form of personal freedom that the left pretends to support, such as women's rights and gay rights, despite the fact that these regimes that they support are against it, it's like they are in complete denial about what these regimes would mean in reality, or do mean in reality. If they were to bring their agenda to America. So it's in a way, it's like a heroin addict, okay? Heroin addicts for heroin. It's the same as queers for Palestine and liberals for radical Islam. It's we love the thing that is against everything we stand for. We love the thing that would lead to our own destruction. And it's that lust for self-destruction, that irrationality that President Trump is fighting against, but that's the only thing the left has to offer. Let us bring you the thing that will destroy you. And that is not pointed out enough.
Yeah, and their approach to life. And Lawrence, on that, would you say that nihilism is the issue that the Democrats are pushing and wanting to have, that there is no reality and therefore anything goes in terms of their crazy ideas?
Pretty much. You can call it nihilism. I call it cognitive dissonance, because they seem to have no awareness of the fact that the things that they support are against the things that they support. Or I should say the people and the regimes and the philosophy that they support would destroy everything that they support. Getting back to the example of the people who held up signs that said queers for Palestine. In Iran and in Gaza, gay men are executed. They are hanged for the crime of being gay, where they are shot and mutilated and their bodies dragged through the streets. And yet in America, gay leftists and other leftists support these regimes. Now, how can you do that unless you are completely blind to reality? It's the lust for self-destruction.
It is. It's a death sentence, isn't it? If they're saying, let's have gays in Palestine, let's have gays in Gaza, let's have gays in Iran. That's exactly what they're doing. They're encouraging death to gays, essentially.
I mean, it's like oncologists for cancer, or or vegetarians for steak. It doesn't make sense, and yet people, too many normal, regular people, are afraid to speak up because they don't want to be attacked. Because leftists are very violent, and they will go after people and just make trouble for them that most people don't want to be bothered with.
Well, thank God we've got you on the show, Lawrence, because your voice is an important one, and I know that my listeners are always looking forward to our weekly conversation because, as I've said to you before, if there's one place that we can get to the source, it's through you as best as we possibly can, and we're forever grateful that you do share these insights with us.